I'm waiting for maybe just a few more people to come in before I go live. So this is very educational. I just got off from work, so I'm trying not to take up too much of everybody's time. But this is very important, especially if you have a loved one who is, just making sure that they have everything in order just in case, they may get sick, they may have to go into a nursing home, or may have to receive assistance. It's just weighing heavily on my heart. I just had to do this. And I'm thinking about maybe doing these, I'm trying to do it once a week, but I'm very, very busy. So just to educate people. And it's not, I know like for my family and everything, they know my background. Close the door, close the door, close the door. They know my background. And just to give people who don't know my background, but when I graduated from college, I worked at Humana for about 4 or 5 years, and I ended up in Medicare. And so from there, I went to Medicaid for the state. So I actually approved people for long-term care for nursing home stay with Medicaid. I worked there for about 6 months, 6 or 7 months, and then from there I moved on to the Department of Disability. So I approved people for Social Security disability through the state. And so I worked there for about 10 years. And now I know a lot of you know that I work for an attorney now, but I actually help people who don't know the ins and outs of disability. So what I wanted to just go over is just educational, because a lot of people know what my background is, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to close this door. A lot of people know what my background is, but they ask me for help sometimes, and it's a little bit too late. So I just want to explain to you all. I'm gonna sit back down. Things that you can do to prepare your loved one just in case. And this is not just for older people, this is for something like me and my husband can do, so it's not just for older people, it's for younger people as well. So under the umbrella of Medicaid through the states, it's not just insurance, under Medicaid, they help people with long-term care assistance. They help people with adult daycare. They help people with home health. But in order to get that help, you have to be approved for that. And Medicare does not cover a lot of things. People don't realize that. Medicare Part A only covers a hospital bed. So if you don't have Medicare Part B, the only thing that Medicare is going to cover is your hospital stay if you're ever admitted. It doesn't pay for the doctor's visit. It doesn't pay for x-rays. It doesn't pay for MRIs. So you pretty much have to get Medicare B. So another thing that Medicare doesn't pay for is long-term care nursing home. And the range of a nursing home bill can range anywhere between $6,000 a month all the way up to $10,000, $13,000 a month. So if you don't prepare, you could lose a lot. So I just wanted to just educate people on things that you can do to ensure that just in case your loved one has to go to a nursing home, that their finances are protected. So if your loved one, so this is how it goes. If your loved one goes into the nursing home, they have to stay in there for 30 days. okay, before Medicaid will pick up anything if they're approved. Now, if they own a house, if they have over $2,000 in assets, so I'm saying assets, anything that you can turn into cash, which is anything in your bank account, whole life insurance policies, burial policies that, like, say if I went and I paid for my burial and then I didn't have it irrevocable. So that means if it's not irrevocable, then if I change my mind, I can go back to that funeral home and say, I want my money back. Okay, so if it's not irrevocable and it's just a burial policy, they count that as a resource. If you have a life insurance policy and it's not term life, they count that as a resource if it's whole life, because whole life policies, they accumulate cash value. So when you go to the Medicaid office, they look at all your resources. And if you're over $2,000, you're automatically not qualified for Medicaid. So they're going to say, sir or ma'am, your loved one that's in the nursing home, they're over the $2,000 limit. So you're going to have to spend their money down. Now, the house, if the person owns a house, is considered an asset. But with Medicaid, they will eliminate the house for 6 months. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people just automatically think, they're going to take my house, I'm going to have to sell my house. So they eliminate the house for 6 months. So that's not a really big issue. The issue is the cash value. The cash, like in your bank accounts, any other items that you can turn into cash. So I'm going to give you a scenario. If my mother was in a nursing home and she owned a house, she's single, she has $30,000 in the bank, she has a term life insurance policy, she has a car, she has a burial policy, but it's not irrevocable, and she's in a nursing home. So the first thing I'm going to do, the first day she goes into the nursing home, I know that she has all of these assets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right down to the Medicaid office. I already know she's going to be denied because she's over the resource limit. But I'm going to go to them because I want them to give me a printout of how much she needs to spend down. So I'm going to go there because they're going to put her in the system and show that I went down there to apply for my mother, but she's going to be disqualified because of the assets that she has, but I need that form so that they can input it, and when I come back and spend the money down, she will automatically get approved. So that's the first thing I want to do the first day she goes into the nursing home. So they'll tell me, well, she has $30,000 in the bank. Okay. She has a burial policy that is, I'm just going to say $7,000. So now we're at $37,000. That's not irrevocable. So that means that she, even though she's in a nursing home, she can say, I don't want that. Give me my money back. Okay. She has a term life, which they're not going to count that because she cannot receive that at all. The only person that's going to receive that life insurance policy is when she passes away. So it would probably go to her kids. Okay, so they're not going to count that. The house, they're going to tell me, well, the house will exclude for 6 months. But after 6 months, we are going to need to see a picture of a for sale sign in front of the house. And we're going to need to see it listed on the market. So, but that's okay because even though you put the house up for sale, you know, you may have to do some improvements to it. They give you a couple of years to sell the house. So when it comes up for recertification for Medicaid each year, once you're approved, you know, you can just go down there and say, it has not sold. You know, you have not sold the house. So the house, we're going to, do what we need to do. but they're not really looking at that. They're looking at the resources. So right now I'm $37,000 over. Well, not 37,000. I'm $35,000 over for my mother to receive Medicaid. So once I get the spend down, they're telling me this is how much you need to spend down. It's $35,000. $2,000 she can keep, but $35,000 it needs to come down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the printout, because they're going to give you a printout to tell you this is how much you need to spend down. Now, the burial policy, I can just go down to the funeral home and say, can you make this irrevocable? So it's just a document that says it's irrevocable, meaning that my mother cannot change her mind. This burial policy is final. So we got that taken care of. So now comes and that's a $7,000 policy. So I'm kind of tired, y'all. Let me think. How much is that? Let's see. About $28,000 left. So what I can spend that money down on is if she needs improvement to sell her house, like if she needs a new roof, if she needs some paint on the house, if she needs to redo the bathroom to get the house to sell, that's what I'm going to spend some of that money on, to get the house up and running, just in case we need to put it up for the market. So we're going to spend a lot of that money down on the house. Another thing that you can spend the money down on is anything she needs. So, she may need a TV in her nursing home room because she don't like the TV in there because it's too small. So we're going to get her a TV. She may need some clothes. She may have to go to water aerobics or some therapy in the nursing home, so she needs some tennis shoes. So whatever I spend the money down on is going to be for her. So the rest of the items I'm going to spend for her. I'm trying to think other things. Now, I said my mother has a car. So they exclude the car. But say if my mother didn't have a car and I don't have a car. So I could take that money and I can go buy a car with it, but I'm going to tell them it's going to be for her. It's going to be for me to transport her to her doctor's appointments. It's not going to be a luxurious car. It may be a car for $1,000, $2,000, but it's enough that where I can spend my mother's money down so that it will make her eligible for Medicaid. She may have to be private pay for a couple of months, which means that if there's any money left over, that we will have to then pay the nursing home with that. If the money going into the house doesn't take the majority of the money that she has in her bank account. So once I spend the money down, then I go back to the Medicaid office and I tell them, okay, I done spent this money down. I have all my receipts, so make sure you keep your receipts. So I'm going to have all my receipts, and I'm going to show them this is what I spent it on. I had to get a car. I can't get her around places, so I had to get a car. So as long as I have receipts to show what I did and that it's for her or it's for the house, they should approve me with no problem, because I'm already in the system. Like I said, the house is excluded for 6 months. After 6 months, they want you to put a for sale sign in the yard, and they want it up for the market. The house has to sell, or you have to have an asking price of what the PVA says is valued at. If the PVA says the house is valued at $100,000, you can't sell it on the market for $30,000, because then they're gonna say, "Oh, you're trying to hurry up. You're trying to skim Medicaid. Are you trying to sell the house for a whole lot less than what it's worth?" Because when the house is sold, all that money that the house sold for, if I'm selling my mother's house and my mother's still alive and she's in the nursing home and she's receiving Medicaid, I can't take the money and split it with my brother. Because if that happens, Medicaid is going to find out. And so when I go back to get recertified, they're going to look it up, and then they're going to say, "Oh, well, you sold this house last year. Where's the money?" And if I say, "Oh, well, I split it with my brother," then they're going to say, oh no, you and your brother, that money that you and your brother took, you all are going to have to now pay the nursing home with that money. And then they're going to stop paying her Medicaid. And so when I used to approve people for Medicaid, I had some people that would sell their parents' house and take the money. And then that was called Medicaid fraud. So, any property that is sold while your, loved one is in the nursing home, if it's their property and it's sold, it has to all go to the nursing home. And so Medicaid will pick back up when the money is spent down, if the house sells. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, but I just wanted to educate people on that. I used to, after I left the Medicaid office, I realized that a lot of people in the community didn't realize how important it is to understand Medicaid, because, it would be too late. You can't start the look back period. When you go down to the Medicaid office, you have to have a few months worth of bank statements. You have to have the deed if the loved one owned a house. You have to have their ID. You have to have all the information. Anything that you can turn into a resource, like whole life insurance policies, things like that. You have to take that down to the Medicaid office. So with the bank statements, with the deed, the look back period is 5 years. When I was working there, it was 5 years. And at the time, I think it was Bashir or Fisher, one of the governors, they were trying to make the look back period even longer, like 7 or 10 years. So say if my mother came into some money and she gave me 10,000 of it, and that was 3 years ago, they're going to look back and see that my mother gave me $10,000 3 years ago. And my mother's in the nursing home now. So they're going to ask me, why did your mother give you $10,000? And if I say, well, I don't have a reason, but maybe I just don't have it, she just gave it to me, they might tell me, well, you need to give her back that $10,000. Because that money, that could go towards the Medicaid bill. Because they look at it as if the person's intentionally trying to get rid of the money so that they can go on Medicaid. Now, if they look at the deed and 3 years ago my mother just added my name on it, or if my mother took her name off of it and just gave me the house, they might say, you need to go back to the deed room and put your mother's name back on that deed and take your name off, or else it's going to automatically disqualify her from Medicaid. Because they're going to look at that and say, she's intentionally giving her house away so that she can get on Medicaid. That's how they look at it. And then if you say if I went and purchased my mother a burial policy, if it's over $10,000, they send the policy up to Frankfurt, to the medical review team. And the medical review team will overlook it to see if there's any fraud going on. Because I don't know if it's not a law, but under the Medicaid rule, if a burial policy is over $10,000, it could be some fraudulent things going on. That's how they look at it. So, so after I left the Medicaid office, I realized that a lot of people did not understand Medicaid. A lot of people were coming to the office and they didn't have their things in. They didn't have their information in order. And it was just a mess. Like some people, it took them a few months for their loved one to get on Medicaid. Some people got attorneys because they had a lot of money, and the attorneys they knew what to do. They spent the money down. They knew what to do before they came to me. But I just wanted to get out there and start my own business to educate people on preparing for the future. Because I don't think I'm going to be in a nursing home. I don't want to put my parents in a nursing home, but sometimes things are beyond our control, and sometimes they have to go into a nursing home. And if they don't have their information, if they don't have things ready, or if they wait until it's too late, it could really be detrimental for them to receive Medicaid. A lot of people, when I worked down there, they would make the statement, well, I can't believe I'm in, my parents in the nursing home. I never thought she would be in the nursing home. This is too much. I got to do this. I got to do that, So my goal when I left there was to educate people on Medicaid. And I stopped. And the reason why I stopped doing it is because people were attacking me. They were thinking that I wanted to know their information, which I was just only trying to help. So when they would come to my, sometimes they would come to my consultations. I would have them at my house. I would have them at church, different churches. And they didn't want to give me any information. I just wanted to help them, to show them this is what you need to do. Get everything in order. A single household is different than a married household. So when you're married, you split the assets down in the middle. So if a couple had $20,000 in the bank, it splits down the middle. The one in the nursing home gets $10,000. The one in the house gets $10,000. And then once everything is split up, it's separate from then on. As if that couple has a house, they don't even worry about the house. As long as the other person that's not in the nursing home lives in it, they don't have to sell it. Now, when you're dealing with a single person, it's a lot harder because the assets will be going to them and they're in a nursing home. And another thing that I wanted to touch on is when a person is in the nursing home, all of their income is going to go to the nursing home, except for $40. So if they're getting $2,500 a month, okay, they're getting Social Security, they're getting a pension, and it equals up to $2,500 a month. All of that money is going to go to the nursing home, except for $2,460. They give them $40 for an allowance. So if they own property, if they own a house, they're not worried about the LG&E and the water at the house, because at that point, they consider that person's home the nursing home. They're not worried about the taxes on the property that's owed. So whoever is the power of attorney over that person, they're going to have to come up with some kind of way to maintain the household bills. So the only thing that Medicaid will consider are bills, medical bills. So if that person owes medical bills, you can spend that down. Like if a person has all this money in the account, you're allowed to take that money and use it for to pay it off, pay off the medical bills. Now, usually the person in the nursing home has Medicare A, they have Medicare B, and sometimes they have a supplement. So what you can do, you can ask the the Medicaid office to not count however much the bill is for Medicare B and however much the bill is for the supplemental insurance. If they have Medicare C, Medicare D, if that person has been paying it, since the beginning, you can ask Medicaid to consider that, to take that out of their income before that income goes to the nursing home. And there is an income limit for Medicaid, and I believe, I don't remember, when I was working there, I think it may have been $2,000 or a little under $2,000 a month. Don't really worry about income, because if the person is over the income limit, what they'll do is they'll have you set up a trust. And so any of the money that's over the allowed amount for income to get on Medicaid, they'll have you put it in the trust. But once you put it in the trust, what they're going to do, they're going to take it right back out and pay it for the nursing home. That's how they do that. So anyway, so I stopped doing my consultations because when I would go and I would talk to the people and try to educate them, they didn't want to tell me anything. I'm like, well, how much money do you have? How much? And they'd be like, I don't, looking at me like, I'm not telling you. But then when they had to go to the nursing home, who did they call? They called me. And then I'm behind the scenes trying to clean all this up. So it just, I've just been thinking about it. And I guess, I think God put it on my heart to educate people. And I'm thinking about getting on like maybe once a week. I finally got me a YouTube channel. So I'm going to upload videos on my YouTube channel just to educate people not only on Medicaid, but disability. There's a lot, like with disability, with long-term disability, short-term disability, Social Security, because a lot of people, sometimes they wait too late with disability too, and then they look up and they can't get it anymore, and then they're losing their homes and things like that. So I'm thinking about doing a channel. Well, I do have my channel. It's called Keila Marie. So I just got to start uploading my videos. But I'm thinking about getting on once a week. Knock on wood, once a week. And just educating people on how to prepare for Medicaid, because, and this is another thing, if you are an entrepreneur and you are in the medical field, open you up a nursing home. Open you up, if you're a nurse or you deal with providers, open you up a facility, like a care facility, like a home health business. I'm all for, owning your own business, because there's a need for there's a need for facilities to help people who are unable to help themselves. And there's a lot of it's not all about money, but a lot of these nursing homes and a lot of these facilities are overcrowded, and a lot of these people that are in the hospital and they're waiting on a Medicaid bed or they're waiting on a Medicare bed because there's not enough facilities, because the baby boomers and the baby boomers, they're getting older and they need help. And that's the same with hospitals. Hospitals, I don't know if you all noticed, but last year my mother went to the hospital. Well, she didn't go into the hospital, but she went to the ER like a year ago, So I went up there and she's in the hallway. And I'm like, Mama, why are you in the hallway? She's like, well, they said they don't have a bed. She had already been there for a couple of hours. She stayed in the hallway the whole time because the way that the hospitals are set up, they need to be, because there's not enough beds for the patients. That's the same as I went to the hospital one time. I'm in a dang on hallway with a gunshot victim, and I'm like, oh Lord, when are they gonna put me in a room? I never got in a room. My daddy went to the hospital one time. He was in like a look, like they wheeled him. Oh, it was crazy, and it was because there's not enough beds, and all the hospitals need to be remodeled. So I just wanted to educate you all, and if you know any entrepreneurs, I know some entrepreneurs that it's not impossible, okay, that have their own doctor's offices, urgent care centers. So it's not impossible. Any nurses, start your own business. I'm telling you, there's a lot of money. It's not about the money, but there's government funds for Medicaid, Medicare. So if you open up a facility, they will be right on it because there's a lot of people who need help. So if you all know anyone that, their family member may be going into the nursing home, or they may need adult day services, they may need home health where a nurse can come and not visit, but come and check on them and things like that under the umbrella of Medicaid. It's not just about insurance. It's not just about getting an insurance card. Medicaid pays for a lot of things, and you may not realize how much a person may. No one knows what the future holds. So you just want to make sure that your parents, even yourself, your parents, your loved ones are covered, and you won't be running around looking crazy trying to get your loved one on Medicaid, because you have to do something in 30 days, else you're gonna be stuck with a $10,000 bill every month. So I just wanted to educate everyone, and if you have any questions, you can message me and I'll respond as soon as I can. But this is what I love to do, and I really love to do disability, but our people's not educated. And I think this is a way that I can get the message out, because it's just weighing heavily on me, that it's a way that everything will fall in place, but you just have to take the steps to make that transition. So if you have any questions, you can message me. And if you know anyone that has issues, that has been having issues getting on Social Security disability, or has had issues with long-term disability, send them my way, because 9 times out of 10, it's something that maybe is not on the documents. Maybe that's why they're getting denied, or it's just, maybe they haven't applied because they don't know. So just send them my way, and I'll try to help them as best as I can. So, and I'll try to get on here like maybe once a week, and just I can talk about different things that may be able to help you, because it may be some things that you don't know that I can help with. So I hope this was informative. I'm sorry my phone's ringing, but I hope this was informative. And I just want to help. I have the knowledge, and I always like to share the knowledge, because I never want to see anyone losing anything when they can control that. And I never want to see anybody, if they tell you to spend the money down, you don't know what to do, and you stuck. I don't want to see that person stuck. So guess I'm gonna get off here for now. And if you have any questions, just inbox me. Oh, and my YouTube channel is Keila Marie. So I don't know if I can upload this video on my YouTube channel, but and you can share this too. You can share this, but just send them my way. If you know anybody with a question about disability, Medicaid, Medicare, I'll try to help them as best as I can. So you all have a good evening. Goodbye.